Oh, g'day. You might notice I've got a little thing here. I've lost a button. And once every 35 years, Lord Reags, with the servants off this week, Lord Reags gets into service. And it's up to Lord Reags to sew on a button. So here we go. This is how I sew on a button every 35 years. Tried hard work once, I didn't like it. Now this is called threading the needle. And the eyesight isn't what it used to be. In fact, the end of that is not the best, so we're going to have to cut it again. Normally I'd use scissors, but it would take too much time. And although I have a saying that the short way is always the long way, so I really should have stopped the tape and gone and got the scissors. But anyway, this needle isn't much good either. It's got a bit of crap on it. I know why, because I don't sew much. I've only got one good needle here at Elvaston for when the servants are off. The white privileged servants, that is. And I usually use the needle for lancing boils, because I get a royal boil every now and then. And it's real difficult when you get a royal boil in the middle of your back. You need a partner in crime to help you with that. And that rhymes. If you're in a bit of a drought, and of that there can be no doubt, for Lord Reags has been without a girlfriend now for some 2 years. And yes, there have been a few tears. You've got to bloom where you're planted. And I've only had the one needle because I don't use it much. So I've had it stuck in the masking tape, which I use a fair bit to stop the ants coming in. I've got the masking tape over the windowsills because they've taken a liking in the very hot 40-degree days of coming in and keeping me company, and that's despite keeping all the decks pristine. Oh look, I've done it. How good is that, eh? I've threaded the eye of the needle. You know, if you ever visit Elvaston in the upper Hunter, lower New England regions of Australia, you're most welcome. You can even sit on the coronation seat, the replica coronation seat I've got, and I've got the stone of Scone. That's the Destiny Stone of Scone. You can have your photo taken with that. If you do visit, I'll take you up also. We'll go for a drive up to Murrurundi, where if you want a good lunch, I recommend the barramundi, which is a fish. It's actually called barramundi, but it doesn't rhyme with Murrurundi. And there's this wonderful climbing thing we can do where we go up to the top of this little mountain, which is very, very hard to get to. And it's called going through the eye of the needle. And it's like that biblical story where Jesus talks about, going through the eye of a needle, and camels going through the eye of a needle, but it was in the Bible that the hole that they went through was actually a doorway. But anyway, I don't want to get into biblical things just now because I'm having enough trouble sewing a button on my shirt. So now we've got the needle thread, and you can see why I don't do this very much, because I'm hopeless at it. I'm also hopeless at bending down. I actually need someone who can care for me. but the applications are not overflowing, shall we say. Had a look at the NDIS, incidentally, when was it, about 2 years ago? Neighbour of mine, he had somebody help him fill in the paperwork for the NDIS, which went for about 20 pages, he was telling me. And it was just, I saw some of the nonsensical questions on that. But anyway, somehow he got approved, and he gets people to help him mow his lawns. He gets people to help him, gets, nursing teams come to visit him once a week, which is good. But I feel sorry for the people who don't have the time to do the paperwork, who really do need the NDIS. That's a National Disability Support thing. Now I've got to figure out, where's this button going to go? I'll put it about there. That should do it. Oh, hang on. So there's the hole. I've got to line it up. So where was I going with that? Yeah, I mentioned the Eye of the Needle. It can take you up to Murrurundi if you want to visit Elvaston some stage in the next few years. We got an airport at Newcastle, New South Wales, so you book your trip there, or Sydney. Sydney's 4 hours away, Newcastle's 2 hours away. You come up to Elvaston, you can stay the weekend, got a guest room. I show you the wineries, I show you where they make, there's a cheese factory, horse studs to see, lovely small mountains to climb. You can sit in the coronation chair. I've got to put it up higher, actually. Okay. Yeah, it's a replica coronation chair. But it cost me $2,000. But, good one, Reags. Hang on, it's just, oh dear, where's it gone? Okay. Well, this is going to go remarkably well. So what I'll have to do is, oh no, that didn't work. Oh, goodness gracious me. Useless as tits on a bull. So, sometimes you've got to improvise. So what will I do? See, the cotton is gone. See the holes in the button? Can you see that button? Yeah. These holes are too big for the cotton. So I'm not too sure how I can fix this problem. I really need a lovely old grandmother to help me, but mine died in 1996. I called her Nana. She was lovely. No, I used to call Nana every day on the phone, and you would have loved her. She had 400 people at the funeral. She had a blood clot on the brain. It just she went pretty quick, but the paramedics were trying to bring her back to life. But I just, when I got the call from my father, I just said, I hope she goes quick, and she did. And in the car, I remember going to Royal Prince Alfred, where they took the body from the Ashfield nursing home. I was praying in the car, saying, please God, take her quick, don't let her suffer, don't let her suffer. And he did. He took her. Sometimes you want them to go quick, you don't. There's nothing worse than having someone become a vegetable. Anyway, about Nana. Nana had greyhounds in her later life, and she and her second husband, Uncle George, who was very strict, very stern, but I liked him because he became very proud of me for obvious reasons, because I'm so fantastic. Well, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. He would introduce me as his grandson, which I didn't mind, because it was too complicated saying, oh yeah, he's really my step-grandfather. They adopted 55 greyhounds. And it was a great teenage life I had living with them. I was in a caravan. mainly because I needed to get away from them so I could do a little bit of study for the HSC. But every morning about 5 o'clock, old George had me up emptying out all the 55 dogs we adopted. 5 of them were pretty good. They won races at Harold Park, and I don't think we ever won a race at Wentworth Park though, but we certainly won races at Richmond and plenty at Lithgow, and Bathurst was a happy hunting ground. And I used to love going up to the country tracks with old George in his old donated beat-up Ford Valiant, which within 2 years he would have destroyed because he was so hopeless as a mechanic. He thought he was a great mechanic, but many a times he'd have the muffler stuck on with band-aids or shoelaces, and in those days there was a carburettor under the hood, and he's always tinkering with the carburettor. But anyway, somehow miraculously we never ever broke down. We always managed to get to the dog tracks in time for kenneling. And poor Nana, because this was well before, this was in the 80s, 70s and 80s, and of course there was no internet back then, so Nana had no way of finding out how the dogs went. So the only way she'd know is by either ringing up, or sometimes she'd not ring up. She would just wait for us to come up the driveway, and he'd give a toot of the horn. He'd toot the horn twice, and that meant we had a win. He'd toot the horse once, and that would mean we at least came a place. And on the way we'd have a Chinese feed if we won. Otherwise we were just pie eaters. Anyway, I've sewn this on somehow, and it'll probably come undone before too long. No, but you would have loved Nana. She was terrific. Never said a bad word about anyone. Now I must go because I do need to go get the scissors, but that's how you sew on a button. Can you see I've done that? Let's see if it works. Hang on. I've still got the needle attached, so I've got to be careful I don't accidentally stab myself. Ooh. Doesn't quite fit the hole. Oh, it's a nice problem to have sometimes, isn't it? Oh, I've got to make the hole bigger. Oh, well, we got it through. So now I can sit at the church on a Saturday at the Seventh-day Adventurers in Scone, and I don't have to worry about the shirt opening, exposing my big belly. See you later.